and they're into the stretch, and it's Accelerate, and on the inside, Mendelssohn, Thunder Snow, roaring up between those two as they arrive at the 8th pole. Then Yoshida, Axelrod, Ganavera's closing in late. It is Accelerate. He's coming down to the 16th pole in front. Thunder Snow on the inside is next. Then Mendelssohn, Ganavera, and Yoshida on the far outside. They're coming to the wire, and Accelerate wins the Breeders' Cup Classic for John Sadler. Ganavera was second.
A lot of hugs there in the Churchill Downs paddock there after the race with trainer John Sadler. Obviously one of the main stories going into Breeders' Cup 35. Would he, and he's had such a great distinguished career out in Southern California, would John Sadler finally shed that 0-4 40-something Breeders' Cup record? Well, he did it in style, winning yesterday's 35th Breeders' Cup Classic. As Jason and Ronnie catch up with you, post-Breeders' Cup life here at GPW. We are fast, we are off the turf, and how about Ganavera running second behind a very worthy winner in Accelerate? Yeah, just a great performance by both those horses, you know, really screaming. I'm still a little shook up for Ganavera running right late. I was screaming for him to get up there, but a great race nonetheless. And of course now, unlike years past perhaps, the Pegasus in just its short 2-year existence has really defined itself as an early season Breeders' Cup to Pegasus race. I mean, it has become, rightfully so, with that big purse, a can't-miss, must-run race. And it does appear, I know the dust has barely settled at Churchill Downs, but Accelerate, I think John Sadler on the record earlier today, this morning, he'll make his final start of his career, Accelerate in the Breeders' Cup Classic. And I was texting with Alex Sano, Antonio's son and assistant, and Ganavera will van back to GPW tomorrow, and you would imagine he'll be in the Pegasus too. And I read a tweet this morning that said that Belmont thinks Yoshida's going to make it too, so we'll see. It's going to turn out to be a great race, and that's one of the beautiful things working for the Stronach Group. We get to see these horses in the Pegasus, and of course we got the turf race. That's going to be the fun. What's going to happen there? Yeah, I'm wondering, you'd love to see a Nabel come for the newly minted Pegasus World Cup turf. My on 3/16 might be far short for her, though. But a horse like Sister Charlie could easily be in the race with that new $7 million purse. And I'm wondering, again, the Breeders' Cup just ended, and it's a little tough to get back in the swing of things, but we will have a few carryovers coming your way. What's the question here? You got your Horse of the Year vote. Do you give it to Accelerate, who danced every dance and really put up a Horse of the Year worthy campaign, or do you just go to Justify despite the fact he never ran after the first week in June? Boy, I was really torn with this, and I do have vote. As of right now, I'm hanging with Justify. It's real close. I may change my mind down the road because I just got to see, but as of now, it would be Justify. I'm with you, and it's nothing against Justify. There's a part of me that goes, you know, I feel like a vote for Justify in a weird way is almost encouraging horses not to run past early spring or early summer and to sit out the fall races, but at the same time, what he did, obviously never done before. I mean, he will go down as one of the most accomplished, greatest horses of all time. So off that, in my mind, he's a worthy Horse of the Year, but Accelerate will be champion older horse, a terrific Breeders' Cup, and that was Larry Colmus with the call, by the way. Carryovers, my friend, let's get to it. A little tough to get back in the swing of things, but at least many of us, I don't know about Ronnie, had that extra hour of sleep, and we will start with our new post time going forward of about 12:35. We've got a high five, we've got an early pick 5, and we really start to pick up in that Breeders' Cup type intensity, my friend, with a couple of carryovers beginning with the 5th. Yeah, we got the Rainbow Six approaching $15,000, and of course the big news in the late pick 5, which is always a fun bet when there's a carryover, almost $21,000 in that pool, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And if you're not aware, not watching our screen, we are off the turf this afternoon. We're dealing with that fast main track, and the changing the clock is for you young pups. It doesn't help us old guys. What time did you get up today? 5:30, but I don't know which 5:30 it was, but it was dark. It was still dark out. You took the dogs for a walk, and you probably started Thursday's card, I bet, right? I'm working on that right now. Finished Wednesday, starting on Thursday. All right, the man is just a handicapping tour de force machine. I'll try to take some of that good work ethic and just the good mojo JoJo here from Mr. Nicoletti, and we'll try to get lucky in this Sunday early pick 5 on this November 4th, in which we have clear skies but no turf racing. And here's my ticket there for 18 bucks. I do have a single coming in race number 4, which has the 10, Harry He. He's an MTO. You know where he'll be. They'll open the latch. You know where you can find Harry He.
Yeah, he'll be on the front end. I still like Maniacal a little bit in there, but I would never leave Harry the He off. And, of course, as we mentioned, a lot of the main track onlys got in today with the move to the main track. So when you do your handicap and get the scratches, and you'll see a lot of horses on the MTO are really sharp horses.
And the 4th race not only houses my single in the early 5 for 18 bucks, it is the first mount today back home in South Florida for jockey Paco Lopez, who less than 24 hours ago won the first Breeders' Cup race of his career, back-to-back sprint scores with Roy H., and it was good to see Paco in the winner's circle. After scratches, Paco will ride 4 runners, beginning with Small Fortune. He made more than that yesterday, that's for sure, in race number 4. So let's get down to it, everybody. We are fast as we go 2 turns for the first. A scheduled dirt race coming up, a 2-lifetime 6250 claimer. A fairly, I think, even for this time of year and condition, this is a fairly soft field where you just really don't have any informed horses to deal with. Because of that, I feel as though you have the horse to beat because of the speed.
Yeah, that's one. And now we're talking about Don's Beach, number 3. Now in the Lisa Allen barn, this gelding will make his first start on a traditional dirt surface since July 2017. He shipped in from Presque Isle, and he finished 3rd, beating the length against a notch tougher on the turf. He's the speed, turf to dirt. I thought he was the one to beat.
Good second 2 back for my horse, the number 6, America's Samard. A reprise of that narrow loss to Octopithias, who would be 1-9 against this field, makes him a threat. I'll see if he can run down Ronnie's lone speed horse. And Don's Beach could be a Ronnie horse. Ron's Beach there in the first. All right, let's move on to the second. We start the early pick 4 with our opening sprint on today's card, a $10,000 2-year-old maiden claimer. You could take out the 7, Karis. That leaves us with a field of a half a dozen. And again, early speed and the horse to beat right on top for you in the number 3, For the Road.
Yeah, For the Road is dropping to the 10 level on the main track after breaking a little bit inward at the start, dueling for the lead, fading when facing those 20 maidens on the turf. I want to show you stat on Dennis Ward, the trainer of For the Road, going from turf to dirt with horses making a 50% drop in claiming price. He's 3 for 19. He's 16%. He's in the money 53% of the time. Pretty solid numbers there. And I just went with the horse. You have turf to dirt. You're usually going to see me around there somewhere. I thought that was the logical horse. But I want to hear about your number 2. I didn't use that. Why trial?
Why Trust?
Why Trust, excuse me.
Why Trust? As Ronnie is a big turf to dirt fan, I am just in general a big fan of good barns that I like when they run second-time starters, even if in the case of this colt, the horse was beaten about 30 lengths with a buyer in the negative numbers. That's okay because it's a big drop. It's Oscar Gonzalez second time out, and I'm looking for, obviously, some improvement here at a decent price for the number 2, Why Trust. It's more a trainer play in the second-time starter thing in a field where nobody is really going to send shivers down my spine, you know?
Yeah, well, that's it. You got to go with what makes you go there. I'm always going to hang with that turf to dirt and speed. I like that. So we'll see how that second race plays out. And as you mentioned, first half of the early pick 4.
Absolutely. As we move on to race number 3, the early 5, the early 4 both continue. And our longest race thus far on the card as we go that mile and a 16th around 2 turns. And this is the first, from this point on, basically the remainder of the card is about individual starter allowances. And we're, believe it or not, we're 27 days out from the opening day program over at Gulfstream Park, the annual Claiming Crown. And I think you are going to see with these starter allowances, this is more or less a dress rehearsal, prep day for some of those Claiming Crown runners. You've got some quality still left in this field, despite a huge early scratch in the 5, Chiseled. And with him out, how about the Cheechmeister, man? Cheech Thunder for me on top for Walder.
Well, Peter Walder also trained Chiseled, so he left Cheech Thunder in, and this one moved to his barn after the claim. He makes his first start since finishing 3rd in the slop. That was those 16 optional claimers at the distance, but I did go with Spirit Love in here, and I can understand Cheech Thunder's going to be the favorite in there. Spirit Love stretching out to this mile in the 16th for the first time. He returned from a layoff. He defeated $8,000 3 lifetime claimers. He was the even money favorite, going 6 furlongs in the slop last time out. I just thought off that performance, he would go. Now, with that said, I had Chiseled on top of my ticket.
Yeah, me too.
So I moved up Spirit Love, Cheech Thunder, and of course, I think Dizzy Gillespie looking to toot his horn at a mile and a 16th today. He prompted the pace. He flattened out at a mile. We'll see. That was across town. I think that race, 5 starters in it, those are the logical 3.
Oh, definitely. Well, Ronnie just gave you pretty much the whole field.
Right.
Ronnie likes everybody in the third race today after the scratch of the 5 Chiseled. In a way, though, Dizzy Gillespie is one of the keys. He's not as fast as the Deuce, but he's going to be the one. If you, like me, you like Cheech Thunder for Walder, you're hoping Dizzy Gillespie will go up and at least challenge Spirit Love.
Yeah, and Spirit Love, I like that stretching out today to that distance. We'll see how that race plays out.
All
No,
right,
I left out one horse.
All right, you left that. Who'd you leave? Oh, Express Jet.
That's the winner.
Yeah, lock it up, take the 20-1, and you are good to go. Now let's move on to the 4th race. Again, we have a couple of MTOs who drew in to this off-the-turf 5-furlong starter allowance. None more important nor fast than the number 10, Harry He, who even though he doesn't have the returning Paco Lopez off a dominating win with Roy H. in the BC Sprint yesterday, regular rider Luca Panici back aboard Harry He.
Yeah, and he was entered for the main track. He's the speedball in here. He's got 7 wins on the dirt. He really benefits with the move to the dirt. But I kept the number 3, Maniacal, on my ticket. And I'll tell you what, dropping to the 25 starter allowance level. Ambitious outing last time on the main track in which he showed some early interest. But he got beat. That was the double-digit lengths. But that was the 6th furlong Grade 1 Vosburg Invitational up at Belmont Park. The Mike Mecca training. He's sharp on the fast track. 8 starts, 3 wins, 3 seconds, and the 3rd. Him and Harry He looked like the right 2 for me.
All right, Carryover Central, Rainbow, Late Pick 5, all that and more after we take a little breather here on GPW Today.
Whether you're at home or at the track, have a stake in the race when you bet with ExpressBet. Sign up for an ExpressBet online betting account and receive up to a $500 sign-up bonus.
One of the world's most anticipated thoroughbred racing events of the year returns. The 3rd annual Pegasus World Cup Invitational at Gulfstream Park in South Florida. Drawing competition from around the world with a $16 million purse split between 2 Grade 1 races. On the dirt and on the turf. Experience the incredible fashion, spectacular world-class service and entertainment, unrivaled adrenaline of the Pegasus World Cup Invitational. Saturday, January 26th at Gulfstream Park. Get your tickets now at PegasusWorldCup.com.
Well, again, just 27 days out from that Saturday 1st Claiming Crown opening program over at Gulfstream Park. And I'd say, in a way, as Ronnie and Jason rejoin you here on this Sunday, November 4th edition of GPW Today, with the Breeders' Cup now complete, Ronnie, I feel like the run-up to the Pegasus and that anticipation for the 2 new races and that day, it's like a lot more real. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's sort of turning over. Now everybody's starting to look for the winter, and Gulfstream Park, of course, that's where the center of racing is. And we've got on opening day the Claiming Crown. As we mentioned, we got some races to set those horses up for that. And don't forget, the week after that, we got the Carib Classic horses arriving yesterday. So talking about getting that feeling for the winter meet, that's certainly it.
Yeah, a whole bunch of Puerto Rico-based horses decided to join us here in sunny South Florida. Looking forward to the 2nd annual Caribbean Classic there on December 8th. And, of course, December 1st is that Claiming Crown. But, again, Sunday, November 4th is about the Jackpot Rainbow 6. 14 Gs, give or take, in the carryover. So what are we doing?
It was such a tough day yesterday. 4 of 6 took down the Rainbow Six. I had a $43.20 ticket. I went 3 deep in here with the logical 3. Sarah's Day, Motions First, Luz Estrella. Almost single in race number 8, the 11 Bella Vincenza. This one a 7 furlong special. Won the Allied Elegance. Had trouble in the $100,000 sheer drama last time out. Now, the long shot today was the number 8, Passion for Hope, in the last race. That was on the turf. This one's going to be the favorite on the main track today, I believe, off of Performance 3 starts back. So 43.20 for me, and I never see that my tickets with those 11, 13s, 10s, 11s, but that's because of the scratches in the main track onlys today.
Felt and saw the same thing setting in my late pick 5 ticket with that 6th race that has a 10, 11, and that 1 race with AMALUNA, Bella Vincenza, and that good Armando de la Cerda horse Untrue with the early speed.
Yeah.
It is all outside with a slew of main track onlys. But anyway, we digress. We get into the opening leg of Sunday's Rainbow. 62.50, 3 and up, Philly Mare Claimers set the battle here. And there was undoubtedly, I know he didn't win Gunnevera, and he got a 104 buyer, by the way, but there was a real sense of pride here. I think I could speak for everybody here, not only at the Stronach Group, but horse players and even people in the game in South Florida watching Bulletin win Friday afternoon, and then Gunnevera with that great second yesterday. And I mention that because Antonio Sano's in the mix with Sarah's Day.
Yeah, this one proves she can compete against open competition, which I find very important when you're handicapping. She followed her non-winners of 3 lifetime victory with a neck defeat, went second at this level in distance last time out. That's that big jump. She succeeded. She was second. Sarah's Day. Motions First ran right behind this horse last time out. And then I threw Luz Estrella on my ticket, who used her speed to win 3 of 7 races going a mile. We'll give it another try. She set the pace. She weakened behind both those horses last time out, but I think she could be a little bit dangerous in there. You have her in second.
Yeah, I do. I think she's going to run well. I'm outside in race number 5 as we, of course, move on to the second portion, act number 2, if you will, of this opening Sunday here in November at GPW. Late pick 5 with that $20,000 plus carryover, and that is the buzzword, my friend. You know people, social media, and then over to the windows really get amped, and rightfully so, when there's a carryover. So let's hope for a big pull today, and many people trying to take down this late pick 5. And because of the carryover, I opted not to single anywhere, and I'll up my usual 24, 20 bucks. 36 even. If I was going to single, though, I might stand alone with the deuce in the opening leg, the number 2 horse, Grey Dude, who does have Paco and has some good dirt races in the past. But I also wanted to use good old Crocodile Charlie because he is just he's a pretty darn good dirt horse, isn't he?
Yeah, and I mean, he had an excuse in the Triniberg last time out. And how about Leo Minot? The trainer, Minot, however you want to say his name, I always screw it up anyway. He's been just on fire.
Yep.
Edgard in the saddle today. I thought you have the logical. Oh, 2 of the logical ones. I also used the NICOLETTI on my ticket.
And there's that army of main track onlys in the 8th race. I am all outside again, 11, 13, and 14. But make no mistake, Bella Vincenza, who is one of the recent major success stories of trainer Kathleen O'Connell, the horse to beat in a very competitive 8th race. But anyway, let's move back to the 6th race. We only go with the field of 4, by the way, in the opening leg of this late pick 5 because we're off the turf. We go 7 in this 12-5 starter. To me, you're either with the 2, Grey Dude, who's run pretty well on the dirt and has a very good trainer now, second off the clean in Juan Arriagada, or you like the MTOs, beginning with, and undoubtedly beginning with, he's first in the pecking order, Crocodile Charlie.
Yeah, entered for the main track, as I mentioned, drops. He broke slowly, really failed to get on track when finishing 4th, but it was only beaten 3 lengths in the Triniberg. It's the trainer I mentioned, Leo Minot, has Edgard Zayas in the saddle, 1 to beat. I use NICOLETTI, also entered for the main track, and Grey Dude.
All right, let's move on to the 7th race here with the opening leg of the late 5 out of the way. 7th race is a Florida-bred 2-year-old filly maiden special weight on the dirt. Naturally, you could take out the 4 Velvet Isle. A case can be made for sure. The 3 Leilani and the 7 Murr, they've already run. They've run relatively well enough that you would think if none of the new faces, firsters, or horses that just haven't run all that well to this point don't step forward, they could quite simply be just the fastest horses in the race. And you, I think, when it comes down to it, Ronnie, with Murr on top the 7, like I do, we have the horse to beat.
Yeah, you know, returning to the maiden ranks and turning back to a sprint distance after following that third-place finish. That was in her 4.5 furlong debut in August. She comes back, she duels for the lead. She finishes 5th in the mile in the 16th. $400,000 My Deal Girl division of the Florida Sire Stakes. They took a shot, didn't work out. Back where she belongs.
Didn't run all that bad, considering she was up against a really good stamina-filled horse in Cookie Dough and had to go that demanding mile on the 16th. So she is indeed down. Leilani, who is back with Stanley Gold now, from Stanley to trainer Juan Alvarado, back with Mr. Gold here this afternoon for Arundel. She makes a lot of sense. But the one firster they're probably going to bet in this race is the outside horse, Tracy Ann's Legacy. Terry Pompey of the more, say, modestly sized stables here in South Florida. It does feel like she's had, on a 2 or 3 month run, she's had about as good a season as any other barn I can think of here on this circuit. And I do like, as we backtrack courtesy of our good friends over at XBTV, this is 2 works ago, back on October 14th, for Tracy Ann's Legacy. And I like this work, even though she was off just a hair slow and a touch awkwardly. I like the fact that Terry in this work basically replicated, and I think to the best of your abilities during the morning, almost simulated what it's like being in a race where she breezed with obviously 3 other horses, and she's learning how to perhaps rate a little bit off those 2 duelers in front of her. Just a nice maintenance work, and undoubtedly this is a barn, Ronnie, and this is something you've talked about numerous times, liking either layoff horses or firsters for Terry Pompey. I think this is an operation that really knows how to coax speed out of their horses. Yeah,
and she just seems to be in that zone where all her horses, even if they don't win, are running well. So it's a good first-time starter. One other horse I want to touch on was the number 1 House Sweep It Is. This one is going to debut locally from the Railmaker First Start. She finished 4th. It was maiden special weight up at Delaware. But I wanted to show you a stat on Jane Sibeli with the number 1 House Sweep It Is. Domestic ship is into Gulfstream Park West on the dirt. She's 5 for 16, 31%, 50% in the money, and a $3.16 return on investment. Since you taught me that stat, I've been using it nonstop because I really like it. It means a lot to me.
And Jane's been good so far this season. She's only run a few horses, and the ones we've seen have all shipped back from either the Mid-Atlantic or New Jersey at Monmouth Park. They've come back ready to roll here. So a good nugget for the 1 House Sweep It Is, as we've got Jane Sibeli on the rail and then Terry Pompey on the outside. We're also very proud of our female training contingent here in South Florida. Many, many, many talented horsewomen running their horses here every day. Moving on to race number 8, we are off the turf. We go 7 with these 3 and up fillies and mares in this $12,500 starter allowance. And just talking about some of the talented horsewomen here on the circuit, Elizabeth Doble's running the rail horse, Indigita, second off the claim. And as you start to work your way towards the outside, Georgina Baxter scratched the 4 Feed Me Carrots, but we've got some serious firepower in the MTO department, Ronnie, beginning with Kathleen O'Connell and the 11 Bella Vincenza.
Yeah, this one entered for the main track. 7 furlong specialists who won the Edit Elegance, and that was its 2nd consecutive victory at 7 furlongs. Couple of starts back, hoping for a clean trip today after encountering trouble at the half-mile pole last time out. Then raced wide, finished 5th. That was in the $100,000 sheer drama. You couldn't ask for a better spot for this horse to be on the MTOs and the race to come off the turf and be on a fast track. So I thought she was the one to beat. You mentioned Untrue. Total speed, going.
And she's just an absolute win machine.
Yeah.
She is an amazing horse. And if you were going to point to one example, I think, of trainer Armando de la Cerda's work for somebody that might be unfamiliar with Armando, Untrue's the one I'm going to, because she's just had a gigantic campaign thus far at 5 for 11. But with you, I feel as though the class belongs to Bella Vincenza, and I was a real skeptic of hers going back to the early summer portion. She won me over, and she did it because she's pretty good. See how she does there for trainer Kathleen O'Connell. To the 9th we go, 2 turns, mile on the 16th. Sunday's 9th, a $35,000 starter allowance. I think even with, Ronnie, the surface changes today and not having any turf racing, even if we were on the turf, this would be my favorite race. I think this is the best race from front to back on the card today. even though you and I both like, speaking of shipping in right off the van, we both like the favorite in this one, who's legitimately the horse to beat and Race Me Home.
Yeah, stretching out to a mile and a 16. 4 previous races with a couple of wins in the second. First start since he was claimed by Mike Maker when finishing a productive fourth. That was a $50,000 claimer at Churchill during September. Mike just doing a great job with his horses shipping in. Just looks like the logical contender in there. We both used the number 5, the Scotsman, in second, who's stretching out around 2 turns today. You mentioned Oscar Gonzalez before. We'll show you a stat on him. With Oscar, sprint to a route on the dirt. He's 6 for 38, 16%, 45% of the money, $1.23 return investment. Excellent barn. Never leave him off your ticket.
And with the Maker horse, not to belabor the point on a runner who's clearly going to be favored here, I wonder off the top of my head, I have the numbers in my desk downstairs, and you'll hear about them as we get closer to the Claiming Crown. As far as all active trainers, he may own more Claiming Crown victories since it arrived here at Gulfstream Park than just about any other trainer on the planet.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but that sounds right.
Big number, though.
It's big. I know I remember 6 somewhere in my mind, you know, back, but I don't even know what year that was, but he's been doing a great job at the Claiming Crown. And that's his type of horses, and he aims for that. That's why these horses are here right now running in these races. So.
And you get a sense that's also the main reason they took this horse, the son of Oasis Dream, for $50,000 in Kentucky back in mid-September. Claiming Crown is no doubt the early season, or late season in this case, target here on December 1st in South Florida. Let's wrap things up. The week comes to an end here, Wednesday through Sunday, a thing of the past when they hang the official on Sunday's nightcap, a 6-horse off the turf, 1 mile and a 16th, 3 and up filly mare, $10,000 maiden claimer. If I was going to single somewhere, late pick 5 with the carryover, the Rainbow 6, if I was going to do that, and I obviously didn't, I think I'm standing alone with the 8, Passion for Hope. And I say that because the point of it is she is just way, way, way the filly to beat here in the last.
Yeah, and I was laughing because I was this close to single at one and going deeper in the other races. She's stretching out to a mile and a 16th on the dirt after responding to the drop down in competition. Second place finish as the favorite, going a mile on the turf. But look at the sophomore, a couple of races down. She was beaten a half length as the even money favorite in a race moved from the turf to a fast main track across town at Gulfstream Park, a mile and a 16th. So I just thought of that the one to beat. And Hoxie's okay. You know, this one is why I had to put her on the ticket. Stretching out to a mile and a 16th in the dirt. Promising career debut, going 7.5 on the turf. But if you go back and look at it, she was wide on both turns and still managed to finish second. Can she do it on the dirt? I don't know.
Well, her sire was an okay, not a flashy horse, but a more grinding stamina type runner on the dirt for Bill Mott in Hold Me Back, who, if memory serves correct, was second in the Travers back in '09 behind Summerbird. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I was there, but I don't remember that stuff. I leave that up to you. You
remember?
I don't even know if I won with them.
That is very true, and maybe we'll have some fireside chats with past winners with Ronnie throughout the day here. We are off the turf, so we'll come up with some tidbits to entertain all of you. And in fact, as we turn the mic on over, my friend, we've got track announcer Darren Gagne standing by, filling in for Pete Aiello. So, Darren, you're up next, bud, with Scratches and Changes. Best of luck, everybody.
The Fall Turf Festival is underway at Gulfstream Park West. Mark your calendars because on Saturday, November 10th, Gulfstream will be offering 8 stakes for Florida breds, 3 on the turf, totaling $600,000. There will be 4 races for 2-year-olds, many with aspirations of competing in the winter and spring classics. Don't forget, you can watch and wager on Gulfstream Park West races in our world-class Silks Simulcast Center, located on the 1st floor at beautiful Gulfstream Park. Join us at Gulfstream Park and Gulfstream Park West on Saturday, November 10th.